Hi, thank you for having us here. My name is Kaleo and that's Kirsten. I'm going to be showing you a 20-minute DVD this morning, a movie called Chosen. And this movie is put out by Shared Hope International. Shared Hope International is where I have all my training in basically what human trafficking is, sex trafficking, what it looks like in the United States, and we're going to show you what it looks like here also in Hawaii. I know that a lot of you just got exposed this morning, probably for the first time this afternoon, in your chapel to what human trafficking or sex trafficking is. You're going to see a movie about two young girls. One is 13, the other one is 18. I actually know the 18-year-old personally, and the reason that she made this movie with Shared Hope is because when she was your age, she would have liked to have known what it looks like, what somebody that would be targeting her for sex trafficking would be looking at, and that way she wouldn't have been a victim. So she became a victim because she didn't see the signs and didn't know what to look for. This movie is not meant to scare you, it's just meant to inform you. We just had your 10th, 11th, and 12th grade in here. I was here last year and I did explain the problem. This DVD was not available to show you until this year, but it does a really good job. It was meant for your age group. And the actual 7th and 8th grade is really the best 2 years to be watching something like this. So we're going to show you the video. Then after, I'm going to come up and talk a little bit more. Kirsten is going to come up and talk about Ho'olanapua, the home that we're going to build for the victims of sex trafficking here in Hawaii. And then Nadia will talk to you about a fundraiser after. So thank you very much for inviting us again, and I hope you enjoyed this little 20-minute DVD. Okay, so while this is ending right here, we're only going to have about 15 minutes, and we want to be able to have you ask some questions at the very end. So I'm going to call Kirsten up. She's going to talk for you about 3 or 4 minutes about the home, so you can understand what our organization Ho'olanapua is. And then Nadia and I are going to come up and we're going to talk to you about the fundraiser that she's going to do, and then we're going to, if you have any questions, we want to be able to address them before you leave today. So here's Kirsten. We're going to give her a few minutes.
Good afternoon. I really appreciate you all being here because this is something everyone needs to know about, and I'm so glad that the movie includes Lacey, who is only 13. The average age of girls that are taken for sex trafficking is between 12 and 14 years old. So you're the target audience. A lot of people ask us why we're involved in this, and I just want to share with you, you may have read yesterday's lectionary, the gospel reading of Matthew, chapter 4, was all about the story of the woman at the well. Who knows that story? Okay. So I believe that the purpose of that story is for Jesus to tell us that we're to reach out to others who are less fortunate, despised, marginalized. And when I became aware of this situation, I thought of that scripture and said, I can't look the other way. I have to reach out and do something. And I have many other women who are working with me, and some men as well, to provide some kind of solution to this. One of the things we're doing is working on making the laws better to protect young people in general, because this also happens to boys. But the other thing we thought we could do immediately, based on our work with the legislation and a task force that we sit on, is we became aware from the Public Defender's Office, from the Prosecutor's Office, from the Police Department, that all participate in a sex trafficking task force to try and combat this, is that when girls are either somehow saved from the industry, or if they're picked up for prostitution, which is very common, there's nowhere to take them, to give them refuge, or to give them any kind of therapy or support. So what usually happens is, if they're arrested for prostitution, they are put into Hawaii Youth Correctional Facility. If they're somehow in other ways get out, they're often put into foster homes. Well, the Youth Correctional Facility and the foster homes don't know how to address the kinds of multiple traumas that victims of sex trafficking experience. And these include, as you heard, beatings, emotional abuse so that they're coerced. Some of them may have the Stockholm Syndrome. Who knows what that is? Stockholm Syndrome. It's a syndrome where people who are captured identify with their captors. So they begin to feel for them and want to do right by them, as you saw in the movie. They want to help their boyfriends to be able to get money quickly, and so they're coerced into doing things they otherwise wouldn't do. And this is a psychological trauma that takes years to undo, as does the PTSD, as does the sense of abuse, both physical and emotional. So the home that we're hoping to build will be a special place that will attend to all of these needs, that will give the girls a pu'uhonua, a safe place, a place of sanctuary where they can be taken out of the situation where their pimps, their captors can't get at them, and also where they can receive the kind of therapy that they need. And this therapy also will include education, and it's expensive. So we need to raise a lot of money and be able to establish this home, and then hire the teachers, the psychologists, the educators to be able to come in and work with the girls to restore their lives. And we have identified a property that would be perfect to do this, and we're hoping to get a lease to the state-owned property as soon as June. And then we've got to raise money to renovate the existing facility on the property. And that's going to cost about $1.5 million. So we're all working very hard. There's actually hundreds of us now that have agreed to participate in helping this cause, to be able to get the home open, get it staffed, and make this a safe, comfortable place for girls who have been victims of this very heinous crime. So thank you.
Now you have finished learning how to stand. So we would like to invite you to join us and stand for freedom. Stand for Freedom is the name of our benefit event, which is a night of talent and entertainment, with all proceeds donated to Ho'olanapua. This event will take place on Saturday, April 5th from 6 to 8 p.m. and is open to the public. Tickets are only $10 and can be purchased online at sacredhearts.org/tickets or at tables that we'll set up outside at lunch, outside of the conference room. This event will feature the talents of spectacular singers, contemporary dancers, and other performers from the community and your own Sacred Hearts Academy classmates. Extra credit will also be offered by the Social Studies Department to all girls who attend and provide a ticket and a written reflection on their experience. Thank you so much for your generous support of this event. If you cannot come, please consider donating baked goods or snacks to sell at the event, Or please talk to your parents and see if they're interested in donating to the good work of Ho'olanapua. They can visit ho'olanapua.org for more information. And now we're going to answer any questions you may have before you go.
So you are some of the youngest audience we've had, 7th, 8th, and 9th. Usually the average age that's been seeing this DVD right now or this video is right around 17 years old. You're a lot younger. You're actually the target audience. Your responses are interesting, and you're the largest group of females we've showed it to other than this school. So it's been if you're interested in contacting me with a little review, I would really like that. How many of you have any questions about what you learned today? Have any of you been exposed to this before or understood this problem? Raise your hand if you understood the problem before you saw it. Great. So there's a lot. Raise your hand if you didn't know about it. Don't be embarrassed. I know there's a lot of you. Because you have a lot of new students this year, and really this subject has not been broached in most schools yet. You're some of the first that are hearing it. Although your school did hear it last year, your 8th graders that are in the room right now and your 9th graders have seen this problem last year. I know the younger ones have not, and you will not see this in your elementary school or intermediate just yet. So, are any of you worried about what you might have seen up here? Yeah. Okay, good. You have a question? Does anybody have a question? Go ahead, in the back. What happens to the girls that get pregnant? So a lot of pimps will get their girlfriends pregnant on purpose to use the baby as a form of coercion. It's part of the whole deal to keep them in line. And they'll take the baby. That is very common. And I don't want you to worry about that. I just want you to worry about getting the wrong boyfriend at this point. Don't worry about the pregnancy part of what he did to her. That is just one of the ways that they keep the girls in line. But I do want you to understand that you need to be careful of who your boyfriends are. Across the board, the girls that I've met that have been trafficked in Hawaii all say the same thing. It started off as a boyfriend relationship. Most of the girls ran away from home because they got in an argument with their parents, out on the streets for a few days, met a nice guy, and then became a boy. That guy took them in, gave them a place to stay, fed them, took care of them, and eventually began trafficking them. It is almost 100% of the stories are like that. So I want you to understand that. And on the playgrounds. So we talk a lot about being a runaway in Hawaii. The PowerPoint that you're going to be able to access through the school talks about runaways. When you're a runaway, your chances of being approached by somebody wishing to traffic you are very high. So we talk to kids about, staying at home. There's things that go on at home. There's a lot of violence. There could be physical things going on at home you don't like. But when you're out there on the street running away and you're in a park and you're hiding out from your parents, there's somebody out there on the street, a trafficker, usually willing to pick you up, nurture you, take care of you, and then eventually start trafficking you. So that's why we're talking, about how dangerous it is to be a runaway. So just keep that in mind. If you have anything that you suspect also, you have really good counselors here. You can contact our organization, you can contact your counselors. Please tell an adult if you suspect something is happening to a friend or something is happening to you or there's somebody you don't trust and you need to get a better opinion.
I just want to add that I became aware of 2 friends of mine, children, that experienced this issue. And it doesn't happen to people who just run away or to families that are having difficulties or kids who are experiencing abuse. It happens to anyone. And so you need to be aware when you're on the playground, who you're talking to, and who you're giving personal information to in particular, who you're trusting. So it can happen to anyone.
By the way, social media, when you're on Facebook, you should have very good controls on your Facebook. All of these social media places, Instagram, people can get in there and they can look at you. A lot of the grooming right now for trafficking in the United States, 80% of it is happening online now on your social media sites. They're just looking for young girls like you to be a little vulnerable. So just keep that in mind when you're when you're posting away pictures of yourself or your friends, or the parties you're going to, or whatever it is you're doing out in public, that there are people out there that want to prey on young girls, and you're actually the target age because most of you have not had a boyfriend before, have not fallen in love before. So that first time love relationship is going to be really important to you. It's very easy to manipulate a 13-year-old at that time. So just keep that in mind when you're out there finding your first time boyfriends. Just make sure they're a little close to you in age. Make sure you really, know who they are. If they're a lot older, driving a car, you understand who you're dealing with, okay? Because it's really important to understand that.